Hi, everyone. This is Kate Sargent coming at you with our brand new Career Hacks and Snacks, where we're going to talk about people's careers and journeys. And then we're also going to eat snacks and judge people's snacks, which is just a delightful afternoon for everyone. So, my first guest here is Cassie Riley. She is the founder of Moxie Talent Solutions and just a dream guest to have on this not podcast that we're doing here. And so, Cassie, tell us a little bit about your work and what you do.
I'm just here to be judged for my snacks, so I can't wait for my review.
I'm
Uh,
hungry, so I want to hear all about them.
I need a little treat right now. Yeah, so I founded my recruiting consultancy, Moxie Talent Solutions, and also offer leadership coaching, but really love partnering with startups on a fractional head of talent basis. And then also offering my leadership coaching as well as an add-on service too. But I started my career off about 15 years ago in HR, and that's where we kind of had our initial connection. Starting off in HR
Similar
and
shifts. Yep.
yep. And then moved into the startup space. And that's where I've just been blooming and growing ever since and loving recruiting. So I'm excited to chat and snack today.
All right, awesome. So let's talk a little bit about career transitions then. I know for myself, it was a long, drawn out process, and I've had probably 3 or 4 separate career transitions at this point. But tell me a little bit about some of the challenges and moves that you made to get to where you are now.
Yeah, that's funny because I actually reflecting on that, mine was the opposite. Mine was abrupt and sudden because of, I think, what many people right now, especially in the people space, are feeling with getting laid off. My previous company at Block had a huge restructure. And so my whole team was let go. And so it put the decision right in front of my face on either do I want to go back in-house somewhere, which is where I'd always been, or do I want to think about my career differently? And the landscape has just changed so drastically. It almost felt like
Yep.
the definition of insanity to go back in-house somewhere to just either lay off another team, be affected by something, experience lackluster leadership. And so I made the decision. I want to go out on my own and venture off and see what was in store for me in the wild world of fractional people work. And it has been,
How long has it been? How long have you been doing this
yeah,
work?
I mean, one, it's been like the most invigorating time of my career. And then it's also been about 6 months that I made the conscious decision to
But
take
you're
the
a
leap.
newbie out into this world
Yeah.
like I am, just trying to
Yeah.
like figure it out. All
Yeah.
right.
And in the best way possible, because I mean, honestly, the coolest people I know are doing it. And so it's been so fun to foster these new connections and meet people who feel really dedicated still to the work. I think even though it's doing it in a really different way and being able to have, I would venture to say, more impact, like touching more people, more companies. And I just am a big believer that it's the way of the future, and especially for recruiting, which is where, my expertise lies. It feels really exciting to be kind of on this next frontier.
What do you think the worst part is? What's the worst part of fractional work for you?
I mean, I think like for sure, I look back and I'm like, oh, a regular paycheck? Wow, what a luxury that was.
It
Like
does feel,
it,
I mean, I've been doing this for like 8 months now, I think it is, or seven
yeah.
months. And I like your thumbs up there.
Oh,
Yes,
two
we're
thumbs
definitely 2 thumbs up for regular paychecks, but I would say like it's a different experience for sure.
yeah, I mean, and
Even
that's
when
just
you're
like
making money, it's like,
yeah.
oh, it's not a regular paycheck. It doesn't feel the same.
So many people were telling me it's a roller coaster and it's be ready for the ups and downs. But I think my career has always been like that. And I think, especially if you've been working in the people space, recruiting space, leadership, and if you've really focused on your development, you've kind of always been bashed around a bit. So it
I
doesn't
mean, I
feel
feel like recruiters are bashed around in general, right? We're like
like
really
that.
useful to people when we're useful and really not useful to people when we're not.
Totally.
Oh, we don't need to hire. See you later. You have no other value.
Yeah. So I feel like everything in my career kind of led me up to this point, but I think you just have to feel daring. You have to be daring. You have to be willing to put yourself out there. You have to be excited about forging connections and meeting new people. And my like equation for myself during this time right now is curiosity plus connection. Those are two like values I've just always had. Thinking about the intersection of those two is how I've fueled my network and just continued to put myself out there. And so that's been serving me really well. But you just have to embrace the unknown. And I feel really fortunate to be embarking on it and just to be making really phenomenal connections in this space too.
Same on every level. I mean, I think fractional work has been shockingly connective. I didn't realize that it was going to be like that. I didn't realize I was going to get to know so many people, but I feel like all that time that I spent in meetings for companies previously was now filled with my opportunity to like connect with whoever I wanted to. I think that was really exciting. One of the things I wanted to ask you too, though, is I feel like recruiting set me up for this pretty well. I would say biz dev and salespeople maybe are better at being consultants. Tier two would have to be recruiters because we're really good at making connections and we're really good at talking to people we don't know and we're really good at building a network around us, whether it's for business or whether it's for something else. So do you feel like it served you and helped you in the process here?
Yeah, 100%. I've always talked about recruiting not as the sales function of the people team, but very similar in terms of the value add for the function, where if you're a phenomenal recruiter, you are able to really sell the values, the vision of the company. You're closing candidates, but like you're a storyteller and you are constantly curious and you're marketing your company and you're comfortable with making those connections. I think the biggest difference for people is having the confidence in selling their worth and really switching from selling the worth of a company to selling the worth of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And having been someone who's focused on that for a long time in terms of just getting to know myself, my values, what I bring, and being comfortable with saying, here's how I will add value, and here's how I've done it before. I think that's the biggest context switch that can sometimes be difficult for people. But I think when you grasp it as like, here's how I make processes better. Here's how I make teams better. Here's the value I add to a company. That's an amazing value proposition that a company is really lucky to work with someone like that. So having those mindset shifts, that's what I've found kind of is the biggest difference.
For the journey into fractional too, you have to be, I'm a big believer that you should do some work for free or for a low price to set yourself a low bar and less stress on some level too. Because I think when you get into it, there's a big difference between doing the work and consulting on the work too. That I think to your point, like there's a real shift that has to take place there for people to get into like you're not just doing the work, like you have to show other people how to do the work, you have to show other people your value, you have to communicate your value in a way that's not already known, like you have to actually like let people know, be your own good PR too. And I think in my mind recruiting is great for that because as you mentioned, storytelling is a huge part of recruiting. I think people think we just like hand out jobs and like talk to people on the phone and like type on our computers like a cat, but like we're weaving a tale about a company, we're weaving a tale about a person, we're building, connections in that way that I think is a lot harder than people think it is. Let me ask you this. So if you could have done anything other than what you're doing right now, what would you have done? What was like your childhood dream slash current adulthood dream if money was no object?
Oh my gosh. I've always had such a problem answering that question. I don't know if this is like super millennial of me, but I do think, and okay, sorry, tangent. So I think that there's a special place in the world for millennials who graduated in like 08, 09. I'm an 09er. So
Are you
like,
even a millennial in 08, 09? Okay, you're making me feel
yes,
old. It's
that
okay.
is
All
that is
right.
like an older millennial,
I'm
actually.
an
That's like
elder
mid,
millennial. I am a two wait, are we talking about college or high school?
yes, college,
Oh, okay.
college.
I graduated in 2003, so I'm not that far off. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
No. And by the way, like young millennials, even
Mm-hmm.
like 1994, if you were born in 94, 95, you're still a millennial.
Oh my
So
God. I know because I've had an assistant who was born in 95 and I was like, how are we a part of the same generation?
I think there's different subsets of millennials. So I think the ones who graduated in 08, 09, recession, there were no jobs. My first job out of college, I worked in AmeriCorps and my salary for the year was like $12,000. And
In
I,
2008?
yeah, 2009. So instead of waiting for this perfect opportunity, like six figures, what was that? I was like, I need something. I need to do something and I want to have an impact in some way, shape, or form. So I think there's this type of grit and this subset of, hey, as long as I'm like getting some fulfillment, I'm really happy in my job. And so it's always been really hard for me to answer these like dream job scenarios because I think one, I can be an annoyingly glass half full type of person. It's just born this way.
I don't know if I'm that person. I'm
Yeah,
like the glass is just half.
the
I'm
half.
sort of somewhere in between. There's half.
Yeah, I do remember this isn't even answering a question, but like compared to when I worked in America, which was a great experience, but when I started working at Target and I started working with people and learning about leadership, that shit is my jam. I felt like I had drank the biggest glass of Kool-Aid when I was like being trained as an HR manager.
Girl, we are retail people. Like
I just
in
loved
your
it.
blood.
And I loved talking to people about their impact on others. Oh, when you say that, when you talk like that to someone, that's not motivating. Let's talk about why. Let's have space to just clear the air, say the thing, the whole open door policy. But like, I'm going to live by this. Like, I want it to feel
True
open
believer.
and I want to like impact people in that way. I really felt HR and being in that space and being a leader was my calling. And then over time, I found my niche in recruiting and it being like a very action oriented, high stakes, really intense, crazy people.
It is
Uh,
that. Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know, Kate. It's really hard because like I
Yeah,
actually
I'm
like
sort of mad at
I
you because you didn't really answer the question, but
I
so it's okay.
really
But
love what I
like you
do.
didn't want to be an actress or a model or something like anything like that.
No,
Like,
no. I
okay, nothing like
mean, go back to
wildly
things like,
unreasonable.
no, no, I don't. I mean, well, here's like a fun one. When I was in, I don't know, not elementary school, maybe it was middle school or high school, you take like that vocational
Oh my
test.
God, the one with the little tiny dots on the bottom that tells you what you're gonna
Oh,
be. Yeah.
yes. Guess what it
Tell
said?
me. Oh my God, I'm gonna tell you what mine is too. Yeah, what was yours?
So mine was either a taxi or a bus driver.
Dude, you're lying. That's a thing. Like that's something that they put on there. That's amazing. Dude,
I was like,
I could totally be a taxi driver and like just
because
talk
I think he was like,
all
you
day
like talking
long.
to people, you're curious. Oh, maybe I'm
Mhm.
not too great at math, which like,
Really interesting. That's like a very niche like segmentation.
Which, like, I actually do think I'm pretty analytical and like data driven, but like maybe not so much on an aptitude test, does not test well. But I feel like my whole life has been like, I'm not going to be what you're telling me I'm going to be. I'm going to be what I want to be. And yeah, I don't know. Here I am. Okay, wait. So what was yours?
Guidance counselor, like
Oh,
high school guidance counselor. I know.
which,
Which I
there's a
basically just am
shade.
for older adults, right?
Yeah.
The guidance
Yeah.
counselor for older adults.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're like the only person who I've ever met who has like any shade of deviation from that career. But wait, isn't that so like we
It's
both remember what that was?
well,
Like
that's like, I mean, it's a really good point though. Like, how impactful was that dumb
mhm,
survey that we
being
randomly had to
labeled.
take in high school?
Oh,
And
yeah.
it so labels you. It's such a
Mhm.
labeling exercise. It's such a forcing mechanism to put you into something. On top of that, like nobody really paid attention to it. I don't really
Yeah.
know. And I want to say like psychologist was on there too. It was like guidance counselor, psychologist. But I mean, I
Mhm.
thought that I wanted to do, I mean, I wanted to be a lawyer. Like that's what
Yeah.
I wanted to do. I wanted to be, what was the show that was on TV at the time? Like Ally McBeal. I
Ooh,
wanted to go
yes.
litigate,
Mhm.
right? I wanted to go like fight for justice, right? Like I was like, let me go fight for justice and then become vice
Uh-huh.
president of the United States because I didn't think
Yeah,
I could
that's
be
how it works.
president. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but too funny. Okay. So I want to talk about, some of the things that you put into your practice that maybe make you unique or ways that you do business that are unique from other people. Tell me what's important to you in your business.
Well, so twofold, because one side of my business is coaching.
Mhm.
And that's where I've found so much resonance and impact for me personally. Like I feel selfish because I get so much from coaching. I like to think I have a lot of impact with my clients too. I think from like what makes me special and unique within my coaching practice. So I focus on three subsets of coaching. One is leadership and impact coaching and really focusing on how to maximize leaders having impact within their jobs. The other is career coaching. And so being a recruiter for the past 15 years, I have an acute eye.
Uniquely qualified.
Yes,
Mhm.
what hiring managers are looking for, what recruiters are looking for, like how to ask the right questions, how to scope your resume and put it together, how to have a LinkedIn presence. So that piece has been really fun to impact my clients, especially given this job environment currently. And then the last one is I do mentor coach relationships with recruiters. So members of whether you are a recruiter embarking on your entrepreneurial journey or a recruiting leader who is stepping into a leadership role or looking to have more impact. I lean more into like having a mentorship and a coaching relationship. That's been really cool to see. Like when you give someone really tangible tools and then you also focus on the underlying coaching, how someone can like unlock, what their values are, how they're really impacting their role. So I think those three facets of coaching I've just found so much joy in. From a recruiting standpoint, my breadth of experience has been across so many different sectors and it's been very programmatic. I think my capstone moment of my in-house career was at Stitch Fix and building our recruiting program for being able to hire from 2K to 10K employees. And so all the exposure that gave me from leading our international expansion to market expansion across the US of our styling teams and our warehouses, being able to set up something that scales. And so I think that exposure, that success, and building partnerships in that way is something that I love going into, like in my recruiting partnerships now.
I love it. No, I love this. And I want to talk a little bit more too about what we bonded over and, so many different things, right? It was recruiting, it was moving into the fractional space around the same time. And it's been kind of being a female leader out there in the world. But we also bonded over having a purpose, right? Really working in a purpose-driven space and being able to give back and find ways to mentor. And, you mentioned mentorship. Tell me, how do you bring that to life in your business?
So I actually just codified it recently so any given quarter, I always take on 2 full-time pro bono coaching clients. And specifically, like, of course, have a warm spot in my heart for recruiters.
Mhm.
That's just something I think I'm always going to be committed to. So I'm doing it right now. It's so soul filling, especially in the recruiting world. It's a function that needs so much support and love right now.
And they don't get love. They don't, recruiters don't get love. All anybody wants to do is complain about recruiters. And I'm happy to complain about recruiters too, because I think there's a lot of really bad ones out there, just like there's a bad something in every
Everywhere.
profession
Yes.
out
Yeah.
there. And like they're just put on blast right now because they're so visible in the market right now.
If you're working in house right now, you are part of a tiny lean team that is
Yes.
being just
With
squeezed.
7,000 applications to go through with nobody supporting you because they've stripped your entire team down. I mean, like we were dealing with that even when the business was high, right?
Totally.
Like no one ever hires enough recruiters. It's like teachers. There's just like never enough recruiters to help out, and everybody wants something done tomorrow, and everyone wants to ignore you until it's Friday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But yeah, no, anyway, I'm sorry. I went to a PTSD place for recruiting there for a second. But I want to talk about, we are actually embarking on a little partnership in the Plus One Collective, which was one of my other crazy brainchild moments years ago that I have finally managed to manifest into reality thanks to a lot of really incredible people. But, we bonded over having that real purpose driven, being able to offer things for free, being able to support groups that, aren't necessarily the most noticed or help or, easily getting access to that support. And so we have our own little consulting collective that's launching very shortly, and I'm super excited to partner with you. So tell me, what made you decide that that was something that you wanted to be a part of?
I mean, I think it's one of those things where, Kate, when you brought it up, I just was like, yes.
I do, and that is not a joke to anyone who's listening out there. She was like, already you said like
100%.
she was like, you said 4 words and I'm ready. Yes, that's what I want to do. And you were
I
like,
think,
I'm in. You don't need to go any
yeah.
further. I was like ready to sell it, pitch it. And I was like, okay, this girl's my jam. Let's hang out more for
I
sure.
mean, it felt like everything in the universe was telling me this is just a whole body yes moment. And when you get those moments in your life, you have to listen to them. There wasn't even like an ounce of, should I do this? It was like, how do I want to do this? Because it's a big yes for me. Like
I mean,
getting
I'm
that
so
done.
excited. I mean,
But
I'm so excited.
it's the whole reason why I got into this work. It's to work with companies that are people first, that are mission and purpose driven, that care about their people.
Mm.
And I think to what we were talking about earlier on the fractional journey, it is lonely for some who are going at it alone. And being able to get the best parts of working with a team of phenomenal leaders and you as a leader who just like shined to me felt just like my 100% yes. So I couldn't be more excited. I'm so excited for the companies that are going to get to partner with
Yes,
us
it's gonna
and
be so exciting.
experience
And we don't get to be
that.
alone. We get to have friends
No.
around us that are also doing consulting, that care about purpose-driven consulting and care about giving back. The word codified was such a perfect word. Having it as part of our code and like what we believe in, that we do give back, that we can do more than the bare minimum. And, if you haven't heard my line about the plus one collective, I'm going to say it again because it's super annoying, but like I love it so much. We want to be the plus one for your business. Consultants are a plus one for your business, right? We're not in your business, whatever, but we are the person you take to the wedding, right? To make sure that you are having a really good time and successful in everything that you're doing. We're your plus one. But also, really important is anyone you bring on board from the plus one collective is our whole purpose is that we also plus one back into the community to make sure that we are giving more than the bare minimum. But also, consulting is sharky, right? There's some sharks out there. Y'all know who you are, people out there, because I've seen you out there snatching up these jobs out there real quick. But consulting can be lonely and sharky too, where it's very competitive. It's a space that's very scarcity mindset versus an abundance mindset. So tell me about that. Like, how have you found friends in this space?
Yeah. I mean, I think that stark contrast between those who are in it to have, the 6, 7 figure quarters. Like, I just recently got exposure to some of that mindset and comparing it to my immediate yes that I'm talking about with you. And I was like, oh no, like, I just like
I've been there.
that.
I've been there.
That's
Yep. Hmm.
that's not what abundance means to me. Abundance to me means having impact. It means, working with people who set your soul on fire, working on projects that like actually make a difference versus like, oh, I better cut that big paycheck. Recently, I had a couple experiences like that. And to what I was saying before, it's like really listening to that intuition and like what your mind is saying in those moments. So like, nope, I'm not going to put more energy into that relationship. I'm going to go
Yeah.
this route. What you were saying before, the saying yes to the things that do, give you that strength that ignite you, even if they're not, the $1 million tickets, I think is what this work is about. And so my word for next year, I like to pick an intention word each year.
Ooh, okay.
Is resonance.
Okay.
And it's really just to go with the resonance. Like, where am I feeling the resonance happening and like following that? And so I think if for anyone who is experiencing the sharkiness or the ick, let that be, contain it, and be like, nope, don't have room for you. I'm going to go somewhere else that's giving me more vibrations, more like ways to expand.
I adore you and I'm so obsessed with you. The best part of this is snacks because who needs to fuel their career with anything other than snacks? So, what snacks did you bring? We have to judge whether it's cool enough and whether I'm going to try it and whether I've already had it.
The snack I was planning on bringing was macadamia nuts because I feel like it's like eating butter. But in true working mom fashion, this mama needs to go shopping. I have eaten all of my macadamia nuts, so I'm switching to chocolate. So
What is it?
we had someone send us like a big basket of holiday stuff. These are called Les Crêpes Dentelle Chocolate Noir. I don't know. They're like
What are
little,
they look like ho-hos. What are they?
I feel like they're like little chocolate wafers. Uh,
Oh, that sounds
so
good.
I'm a big fan of having like little delights throughout the day to get you through your day. And so
Okay.
for
Well, you got to
me,
break that thing open. What's inside of it?
so here's all the chocolate.
Okay, that looks really good. Hmm.
Um, it's a
I love that
wafer.
you're chewing on camera. That makes me even happier. Oh,
Yeah.
they're empty in the middle with just little
Yeah.
crunchy cookies.
Yeah. It's like a
Okay.
little crunchy wafer with a nice delicate chocolate.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's
Tell
really
me about
important.
your snacking habits. Like, are you a
Yeah,
night snacker? Are you a day snacker? Are you a coffee snacker?
I'm an everything snacker.
All the time snacking.
So
That's the only kind of snacking for me.
that's the only kind of snack. But especially towards the end of the day, like right before I pick up my kids, usually I pick them up, close out a few things. So I like to have a little celebration around
Like
that point.
before they get there
Yeah,
and
yeah.
steal all your soul and
Yes.
food and
Sell my soul
ask
for me.
for 700 snacks themselves that you
Yes.
are never the right one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like to have my secret snack stash, and I've always
Yes.
been this way my entire life. Growing up, I had a secret snack stash of pistachio pudding.
Like the green stuff, like the weird colored
I
green.
would make
I didn't even know, like, wait, in packages? Because that sounds
no.
gross to stash.
So what I would do, so take the pistachio pudding powder
Mhm.
packets.
Okay. Oh,
I would go and I would hide it like in the back area of our fridge. And I would just have my little pistachio pudding. Like, so I've just
oh my
always
God,
been
you're so
like
weird. And I love
so
everything about
weird,
it.
like a
I
little
was
mini,
expecting us to go in a
eating my little,
pistachio pudding direction. I'll tell you that. I was
no,
not
like
prepared for that.
I have a very major sweet tooth. I just need to have my little sneaky snacks. And because they're sneaky, like I hide these from my children
They're
and
more
my
fun when they're
husband.
sneaky.
Yes, they're just so
Right.
much more
No, I
fun.
totally
I'm a
100%.
sneaky sweet snacker is my
Sneaky
favorite.
snacker. Okay, last question for you. What do you hate to eat? What's your food aversion?
Okra. That's like the only thing.
I've never even had
I
okra.
actually
It looks
like I
so
eat
slimy.
everything. I will,
Really?
yes, I love like I will try almost everything. I shouldn't say everything, but almost everything. Okra, I just can't like the snappiness and then
The look of
the
it, the
slimy.
goo, all
Yeah.
of everything about it just does
Yeah.
not seem like something I want to try. I'm a
Mm.
trier too. I'm willing to try things. I mean, I have plenty of weird food things that I do not like, but nothing about that is, oh, I want to put that in my mouth, you
Yeah.
know?
Like chewing on a big slimy piece
I feel
of
like we've gone in a direction that I did not intend for this to go. But I think I'm going to start asking that question though, because it's a fun question. Because I was like, well, I want to know what you snack on, but I also want to know what you hate.
what you will
Tell me what
never
you hate,
snack
what
on.
food you can't stand.
Uh-huh.
You know what
Uh-huh.
mine is? Mine is mayonnaise.
Oh,
It's like
oh, who
mayonnaise.
snacks on mayonnaise? Oh, let me just
Oh no, not as a snack, as a food aversion. The thing that makes me gag the most, like in the
Uh-huh.
world, is like the smell of like warm mayonnaise.
Ew, gross.
I mean,
Yeah.
nobody likes the smell of, but like when you open the jar, like I can eat it in tuna or whatever, but like when you
It's
open the jar
a
and
nice whiff.
it comes at you, it's just such a gross smell. I can't handle it. And on that note, it's been really lovely to have you here on Career.
Go whiff of mayonnaise.
We're going to end with mayonnaise and pistachio pudding, which, as soon as I put in the
Oh,
description of this, nobody's going to want to hear about, frankly. Thank you for telling us a little bit about your career journey, a little bit about your career
oh,
hacks, and sort of how you've made it through to this fractional space. It's impressive. And I know you've done really crazy well over the last 6 months, considering you've only been doing it for a little while. I can obviously see why. But I'm super excited to work with you on the Plus One Collective. I'm super excited to like just find projects that we can work on together, period. But thanks for coming and thanks for being my first guest. And
oh.
I may get better at this hopefully in future, but
Or not.
thanks
Like
for
I'm just here for
taking a
the
test drive
yeah,
here.
pistachio pudding and mayonnaise. I mean, what more could you want?
Chocolate cookies, pistachios, mayonnaise. Oh, I got to tell you another story
And
really quick, just
okra.
while we're here.
Uh-huh.
When I was in Hawaii with my mom, we didn't have any sugar to put in the coffee maker or whatever. We ran out of sugar. We were too lazy to go ask anyone. We bought those, the chocolate macadamias that everybody
They're
buys
so good.
in
Yeah.
Hawaii, right? So we
Yeah.
discovered the joy, and we still do this, of putting two of those in the bottom of your coffee cup and then letting the coffee run over it. The bottom of it is like a coffee melted chocolate macadamia nut. It's like the best thing ever.
Ooh.
So tell us where we can find you. Where can we find you? And how do we get more Cassie in our lives?
No, so LinkedIn is always a great way. Pop into my DMs. My name's spelled Kasi. I'm one
Right.
of the only Kasi Rileys out
Though I
there.
did find the other one on the internet recently.
Oh,
Okay,
yes,
keep going. Mhm.
you are Cassie's super sleuth. So my website is moxie.com, moxii.com. So both ways are great ways to get in touch.
Awesome. And we will shortly be posting together about the Plus One Collective and really excited to launch that together as well. So thanks for coming. And I hope to have you back on the show as soon as possible when I
Oh,
figure out what it is I'm doing. The structure might be very different, but thanks for being my first one.
oh, it was a pleasure, always.
Thanks so much for joining us at Career Hacks and Snacks. And we're really excited. We got 40 plus more guests lined up to chat through this next year. And I hope you guys like it because otherwise, I'm going to be having a lot of conversations with a lot of people that nobody's paying attention to. So thanks for having us.